If anorexia is left untreated, what can happen? Our goal is to catch anorexia long before the child suffers any physical damage. But when we don't, unchecked anorexia will strip the child of their health and mental well-being. Sadly, some of the damage can be permanent.
Although anorexia nervosa is a brain disorder, the effects of the disorder are not limited to the brain. It has a profound effect on growth and development, especially in young children. And even in children in their late teens, it will have a profound effect on bone deposition, growth, and development. So that prolonged episodes of starvation that then lead to decrease in estrogen in young girls causes a decrease in bone mass that we call osteopenia, or weakness of the bones. And in some kids, it even extends as far as osteoporosis, which is a brittle condition of the bone. In addition to that, starvation itself has a profound effect on the heart. It decreases the muscle mass of the heart and causes the heart to beat more slowly. A person who's very starved loses their ability to think clearly and cannot really be responsible for good decision making.
I don't think it would have made a difference if they told me anything. I was in so much denial. I can't even fully imagine probably how much denial I was in. I physically knew what was happening, but I didn't mentally know what was happening. It was like something was disjointed between mind and body.
Cognitive impairment is subtle but definite. Very commonly people think that anorexia doesn't impact the brain much because the kids are still getting straight A's in school. Those straight A's, however, are based more on obsessionality and obsessive and compulsive schoolwork than they are on actual intellectual achievement. And in fact, as the kids get older and school gets harder, in the later years of high school and the early years of college, almost all of them will gradually find that their intellectual capacity grinds to a halt.
Why is it so easy to miss anorexia in its early stages? Who expects the unexpected? In some ways, our culture makes the early stages of anorexia more difficult to see.
So it's important with that cultural bias of what eating disorders look like to pay attention to how kids lose weight. The manner in which they do it, how unhealthy have they gone about it, that can be eating disorders. High body weight to normal body weight, how did they get there? It's important to ask those questions, and rather than just say, well, you look great, you're at a weight you are, perhaps that's not where they should be.
What happens is when a person has an eating disorder, it gives them a sense of mastery, it gives them a sense of self-efficacy, it gives them, they feel they have more confidence, they feel better about themselves, so it's very, very, very empowering. And even if there's a little bit of them that thinks, oh, this isn't quite right, this isn't quite normal, they're going to push that away because the gain that they get from it is so much greater than the perceived detriment that they're going to hang on to it. They're going to hang on to it as hard as they can.
I guess it snuck up on me because he had been playing basketball with his friends. He was the top scorer on his basketball team. And you know, he's a fun kid. He was laughing. He seemed to be pretty energetic. He hadn't been feeling well, and he really, I guess there was a prejudice inside me. He didn't look like a kid with anorexia, and so I asked some questions trying to get a sense of whether he was dieting, but I guess I didn't ask the right kinds of questions.
Yeah, before I was admitted to the hospital, and I knew this, before what was happening to me, I had a run-in with many, many doctors, one right after another, because my parents thought something was wrong. They knew something was wrong. But every doctor sort of ruled it out as, a common cold, you're bouncing back, it's a regular cycle for teenagers. It was just excuse after excuse after excuse, and it was about the fifth doctor or the fourth doctor, I forget, before something was actually realized that something's wrong here, so we're going to take you into the hospital.
there's an old adage, and I don't know where it comes from, but you kind of see what you're looking for. And I think about years ago, there was that those pictures where there was a image up front, and then you kind of unfocus your eyes and you see another image behind it. I don't think people do that enough. There seems to be, okay, there's some depression, some anxiety, and we recognize that and we see that, but we don't see or we don't look for the different layers. And if you're not looking for a deeper layer, you're not going to see it.
It just takes hold of you, and it's easy to tell a doctor one day that I will do something, and then you have 13 days to disobey the food plan or the orders, and the damage is right back or even worse than it was when you started. I think the coordination of those areas needs to happen, and it needs to be dealt with on a daily basis in order for this illness to be cured or to be put into remission. It's just too big to be dealt with on an once a week, once every 2 week outpatient type program.
Childhood anorexia is not an easy topic to discuss. It is a frightening, horrific, and poorly understood disease. It is almost impossible to believe that a child could actually starve themselves and that a parent or physician might not notice. The guilt that families feel is extraordinary. It is important to remember that parents don't cause anorexia and children do not choose to have it. It is a brain disorder, and it is nobody's fault. And remember, you do not need to treat it. Just recognize the possibility of it and look for help from the specialists like the ones you've met in this presentation.